We're going to miss out.
Yeah. Now, a few weeks ago, we asked you for your bizarre and supernatural stories that you wanted us to investigate, and as you can see from all these letters, we've received hundreds of letters and notes about all sorts of things. Ghosts, premonitions, and all manner of mysterious things. Last Sunday, the fearless Simon Calder chose his first mission, which was to investigate the case of a cleaner from Dunstable who claims he can predict the future. This is what happened.
Welcome to my magic bus. Can you imagine being able to see into the future? Wouldn't it be amazing? You back every winner going. You'd hardly be driving a 30-year-old camper van round Bedfordshire now, would you? Anyway, I'm on my way to Dunstable to see a guy called Chris Robinson, who's an office cleaner, and he claims to be able to predict world events. Hello, you must be Chris.
I am.
Good.
Come in.
Nice to see you. Simon Calder from the Heaven and Earth show.
Pleased to meet you. Come in.
I dare say, if you can see into the future, you've been expecting me.
I have been expecting you. Yes. I had no idea what you looked like.
So, if you can see into the future, what's it feel like?
At the first, it was very frightening. One of the things... Do you want a cup of tea or coffee?
Coffee would be great.
Okay.
Right, no sugar, thank you.
Yeah. No, it's frightening at first, because some of the first things I saw were like big terrorist acts and plane crashes and bombings and things like that. My messages are in the form of dreams usually, and sometimes the dreams are showing you a literal picture of what will happen, but sometimes you're seeing it in a cryptic form.
Who's sending the messages?
That I don't know. Some people like to think of a god. Some people, scientists that I know, like to call it the universe.
I have to ask, the most terrible tragedy of recent years, of course, is the
New York
attack on New York. Did you know about that in advance?
Yes, I did. It was a series of dreams over the last couple of years. And on the Sunday before it happened, I actually wrote to the London Embassy asking to see somebody from their intelligence department.
That was 2 days before?
2 days before. I made contact with a Professor Schwartz who studies this kind of paranormal activity in the university at Tucson in Arizona. And I asked him if he would be interested in testing or evaluating, or whatever term you want to use, what happens to me.
Okay, so I could just call up the University of Arizona, not in Phoenix?
It's in Tucson, actually.
Tucson?
The university is in Phoenix as well. There is a section of the university.
Okay, ask for Gary Schwartz.
Ask for Professor Gary Schwartz. I'm sure he'd be pleased to talk to you.
Hello, Professor. Simon Calder here from the Heaven and Earth show. Now, I'm calling you about Chris Robinson. Basically, is he for real?
He is able, under scientific conditions, to be able to get information about the future that can be verified. He flew to Tucson, Arizona for a 10-day experiment where possible sites in Arizona selected, but what happened was he actually began dreaming about the 10 days, and then I would then take him to that site and we would determine what information in his dream was accurate in terms of predicting where we went. Not only does he get things right, but more importantly, he gets them carefully.
So what have we got here then? A modern day Nostradamus, who's also got the backing of a top-notch academic. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set Chris a test to see if he can convince me. Will he be able to predict where I'm going to take him tomorrow? You know how a camcorder works?
Yes.
Okay, you take that.
Yes.
I want you to dream tonight where we're going to go. When you wake up, record yourself, your thoughts, your description of where it's going to be.
Okay.
I'll also get somebody randomly to choose where we're going.
Okay.
We'll go down there and we'll see how you get on. Does
Okay,
that make sense?
sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yes, that sounds
Okay.
fine.
Sweet dreams.
Okay, thanks
See you
very
in the
much.
morning.
See you tomorrow.
So today's the day for Chris's challenge, and I've selected 10 tourist attractions within about 20 miles of where he lives. Now I've got to find a reliable individual to pick one out at random. Can I ask you to pick one of these 10 cards at random? Right, that one?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what it says?
The Heaven and Earth Show.
Yep, that's us. What's it say on the other side?
Woburn Safari Park.
Woburn Safari Park. That's where we're going. Thank you very much indeed.
This is Wednesday morning. Here is my dream book. This is some of what I wrote during the night. Shooting in the air. A big house. For BBC, where will I be taken? Television show. Rosie and Jim. Traffic. Bin. Liners. None of that encourages me very much.
Okay, Chris, are you ready for a Magic Bus mystery
Come
tour?
on then, let's go.
Problem is that the M1 is blocked.
Yeah, you're not going to go on that.
So the A5 is also blocked.
Yep, forget that. Traffic. I got a feeling we're not going to get there.
Chris, is there anything so far that you've seen or you've felt
No.
or you've... Okay, Chris, we're getting quite close now.
Right.
Any strong feelings?
Nope. Oh, this is a bit
Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse. I fear the Magic Bus has perhaps lost a bit of its magic. Sorry, Chris. The gear stick appears to be stuck in what we
Reverse.
drivers call reverse. And I'm not quite sure how we're going to get out of this one. There goes my booking with Top Gear. Ooh.
only went backwards and had to go to a garage. Our bubble car.
Okay.
Not exactly a bubble car.
Is this humiliating or what? My very first investigation ends up with a Magic Bus just not performing.
Well, now we've
on its
broken
own.
down. It's actually very close to what I dreamt on the first time I dreamt of the BBC before you even asked me to come on the filming.
Right, which
And that
before
was
we...
on the 13th of October.
13th of October?
Yes.
So before we'd even put
Before
it on
you'd
the
even
programme.
asked me about the programme, I dreamt I was with the BBC with this Trojan bubble car vehicle.
Right. I suppose this is German. Many of the bubble cars were made in Germany. Trying to help you out, Chris.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to do that with it because actually the very first time I dreamt of a bubble car, it was a blue one, and I wrote down blue bubble car and the BBC. BBC, yes.
Goodness
So
me.
I see a bubble car now, and I always know it's the BBC.
Right.
So on the 13th of October, I've got, hello, BBC. Now, where was I in the dream? Well, I wasn't sure. I was either at Nebworth House, Kenilworth House, or Hatfield House. And because I was there, I hadn't seen any signs. It was just a big country house.
And we're at Woburn Abbey.
And we're
which
at Woburn. Well, it's a big country house.
It is not an abbey by any means anymore.
And I put needs petrol because we'd broken down. Now, in the dream, I'd assumed that because we could only go backwards, we'd run out of petrol and we were pushing it.
The strangest thing, you were telling me on the way up here about Rosie and Jim.
Yes.
You had this dream about Rosie
Yes, I
and
did.
Jim.
Yes.
Well, in the production meeting we had just before this, can you imagine that Danny, our sound man, has worked on about 100 episodes of Rosie and Jim?
Is he really?
Absolutely. Come over here, Danny. Is that right? Have I got that right?
Yep.
Okay. He's from Crawley. He's a good chap.
And you worked on sound. at
He worked
Rosie
on
and
sound
Jim.
on Rosie and Jim.
Is that why I'm dreaming of the tape recorder and the editing of the sound?
And would you
I
believe?
mean, again, it's tenuous, and I'm not trying to push it, but this has all turned out very funny, hasn't it? And with my Rosie and Jim, I've got a tape recorder and something.
So that was something that you got last night.
The night before last.
Okay, take twists and breaks.
Yes, it was something.
Now, you see, you either think he got it spot on or he was just a tiny bit vague.
Well, Simon Calder's on the phone now. In his own words, Simon, Chris said, "Oh, it is very tenuous and I'm not trying to push it." What did you think?
He's absolutely right. I mean, of course, I knew we were off to Woburn Safari Park, and because none of the premonitions that we talked about concerned animals, which is, of course, what you get at a safari park, I was totally convinced he was going to leave me unconvinced. But just very spooky about breaking down about the BBC and about Rosie and Jim. And it turned out that both the cameraman's partner and the camera assistant had also worked on Rosie and Jim. So very spooky. Anyway, as you can imagine, I spent most of the rest of the week under the magic bus and praying to whichever deity looks after VW gearboxes.
I get the sense you're convinced, though.
Well, I think there's an awful lot more that needs to be investigated on that. Perhaps it's something we can return to, but certainly I was so convinced because we were just trying to drive up the A5 to the safari park, and I just thought, well, it's going to be so disappointing for Chris when he finds out that here we are among all these animals and he hasn't had a clue. Little did I know.
Little did you know, and that's the nature of this job for you, Simon, that you never know what's up next. And you talked about that category of stuff, which is premonitions. We're going to decide on your challenge. But this week, one of the most popular subjects that people wanted investigated was ghosts, Simon. Bob Harmon, who's from Hull, writes in, Bob was forced to stop his car on a deserted road when his lights suddenly went off. To his astonishment, he saw a troop of Roman soldiers move past the car speaking a foreign language, which is because they're Roman soldiers. And once they disappeared, the lights came back on.
And David Palmer emailed us with this experience. I was working as an ambulance driver in the Southsea area when I saw a friend by the roadside and offered her a lift. She looked past me into the van and then declined. Later, I asked her why she hadn't taken up my offer, and she replied that she hadn't wanted to delay my passengers. But I didn't have any passengers. 2 days later, I showed my friend photographs of my family. She identified my grandfather, who'd been dead for some time, and my grandmother, who was dying in hospital, as the people she'd seen in the van.
Well, there you go, Simon. Lots and lots and lots of stories like that. But the story we're going to send you on this coming week is, are you ready, Simon?
That all depends.
Well, so you've signed up too late. Your mission is to investigate a poltergeist at a pound stretcher store in Northern Ireland who's been giving the staff the heebie-jeebies. He's been throwing stock off the shelves.
A poltergeist in a pound stretcher?
Yeah, and it sounds too good to be true, I know, but that is the case. So listen...
Did you say Northern Ireland?
It is in Northern Ireland.
This magic bus isn't amphibious, you know.
We'll give you the ferry fare, Simon, don't you worry. And thank you very much again. Well done.
Now.
Good luck. Now, would you get up early on this cold October